Does any other senator wish to speak before we move on to the minority report? All right, we're going to take up we're going to allow, I know the senator from the 22nd has already spoken on his amendment, and now Senator from the 41st, would you like to speak on your amendment? The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to draw your attention to my amendment that actually seeks to do exactly what the senator from the 37th talked about, which is to really and truly bring fairness and equality to girls' sports. Yeah. I think I want to start by just naming aloud that for many of us in a post-Title IX world, there probably is this expectation that fairness exists in girls' sports already, that girls get coached in the same level, they have the same access to resources. But the reality is, here in the state of Georgia, girls do not receive equal treatment. They're often assigned teacher supervisors for their sports, people who have absolutely no training at all in coaching the sport. And why is it that they can't find coaches? Well, because there's a pay disparity that exists. This bill amendment that I have seeks to address this and to say, if you are coaching, you should be paid based on the time spent in an equal way. We'll take, for example, a football coach often plays about 10 games a season. A soccer coach plays 20. Why is the football coach making 9 times more? There are issues around opportunities for girls to be able to safely practice on playing fields that are regulation size. Right now, today in Georgia, we have girls who are having to practice on rec fields with holes in them, and there are all kinds of ways that they're not regulation size because the boys get priority on the best fields. Right now, this morning, we had girls who had to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go practice on their court because they don't get priority practicing time. If we want to really and truly bring equality to girls' sports, it's this amendment that needs to be passed. If we really believe in protecting girl athletes, it's ensuring that they have access to great coaching just like the boys have. You know, there's a senator here who talked about in previous days about a girl in his district who plays on the golf team for the boys. It's not because they don't have a girls' golf team. It's because playing with the boys gives her access to better resources, better coaching, better facilities, better equipment. Title IX was designed to bring equality to girls' sports. And it has worked in many ways. And, you know, we heard senators quote the statistics about how many more girls participate in girls' sports as a result of Title IX. But let me add this little bit of detail to that. We have research that indicates that by age 14, girls drop out of sports at 2 times the rate of boys, often citing reasons including bullying, social isolation, and discrimination based on their real or perceived sexual orientation. Women in their 20s are twice as likely to report safety concerns from their youth sports experiences as those who were in their 40s, citing that they had concerns about injury, safety, and poor coaching. So yes, more girls are playing, but fewer girls, we do not have as many girls playing because they recognize that they don't have equality, they don't have fairness. So, friends, I invite you, this is an easy vote. This is something that we all should be able to agree on. We've talked about it all afternoon. We believe in fairness in girls' sports. So let's amend this bill to include and to ensure that true fairness exists, that it's no longer a litmus test about whether or not maybe you do a few things to make sure that there are equal number of teams. But instead, we do all the right things to make sure there's fairness in compensation, fairness in access to playing fields, to make sure that girls are being treated with the same greatness in their school media as boys are. This amendment is our opportunity to truly begin to level the playing field in Georgia. With that, I yield the well. Oh, I will stand for questions if there are questions.
You do have one question, Senator. Recognize Senator from the 14th.
Thank you, Mr. President. Will the senator yield?
I will yield.
Okay. In terms of, being very pragmatic, costs and benefits, real policy changes that affect real people, can you speak a little bit to the relative proportion of the impact that your amendment would have on fairness in girls' sports relative to what the majority's bill might accomplish in terms of the numerical percentages?
Yeah, so if we look at the majority's bill, which is targeting a very limited group, we have 0.06% of athletes are trans. So you're talking about, you heard that right, 0.06% of students are trans athletes. So you're talking about no more, you could count them on two hands. That's how that bill impacts our girls. But if you look at my amendment, we're talking about thousands of girls who grew up just like I did and who have a light bulb moment when they realize, when they're sitting waiting for access to the basketball court until 7 p.m., they realize, wait a minute, I'm not being treated like the boys are. That's what this amendment does. It impacts thousands of girls' lives. And what's more, we know that from statistics, when girls play sports, and particularly when they play for a long time, they grow up to be powerful leaders like the one you see standing in this well today. We know that when girls play sports, they grow up to be CEOs. They are more likely to finish college, more likely to hold leadership positions when girls play sports. This amendment makes sure that girls have a level playing field and increases the likelihood that girls will stay in the game instead of quitting the game because they don't have equal opportunities.
Will the senator yield for one final question?
I'll take one final last question, my brother.
Senator, what kind of message do you think it would send to girls playing sports in Georgia if the majority passes this bill without your amendment?
If this amendment does not pass, then it makes it clear that the men in this chamber who have stood up and spoken before me from the majority party do not actually really and truly want to bring true equality to girls' sports.
Thank you, Senator.
With that, I yield the well.
Thank you, Senator. I recognize Senator from the 44th. Would you like to speak to your amendment? Senator from